here in Alabama and Mississippi, you're looking at an enhanced risk of severe weather. So you really just want to stay weather aware if you're in those areas. While the storms moved through and the clouds moved out, the wind moved in. So we can see here in Tallahassee, 22-mile-per-hour winds. Wind from the south, that's coming right off the Gulf, and that is making these really muggy, humid conditions that we're seeing here in Tallahassee. Right now, our hot spot over here in Valdosta at 86 and a little bit cooler down in Apalachicola at 80. But no matter where you are, you're going to be warm, and that story is going to be sticking around for the rest of the week. And with that cold front, we also saw that our dew points dropped off quite a bit. So 66, then 82, then 78. So it's a bit of a roller coaster. Clear skies, beautiful conditions outside. No more of those storms. They moved through this morning and we called it quits after that. So with those low dew points, it's really dry in the air, and there are concerns we're seeing now and going into the weekend possibly about the fire. While it was nice and warm today, we were up around 81. It's going to cool off a lot. So by tonight, you are going to need that jacket. That rain come through on Wednesday. And then you can see on Thursday, it's going to be another clear day, but those temperatures are dropping. So our high is only going to be 63. Snow and some ice up here. So North Carolina, you definitely want to be looking out for that. But the rest of the southeast, you are luckily starting to see that clear up. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, there's a slight chance of severe thunderstorms. You do not see that. You get a lot of rain, but not often are these storms severe. So one of the big things to be looking at with this system is hail. And Fort Myers, that same story of just these beautiful conditions. So we're seeing sun across the board and warm temperatures, really just staying around 80. For your Friday and your Saturday, and most of your Sunday, you're really just going to be enjoying this beautiful weather, maybe a few clouds. It's down here near San Antonio along the coast of Texas. You're getting a lot of rain over the next few days, so there's actually a flood concern down there. If you can get to the most interior room of your house, ideally that would be a basement if you have one of those. However, if you don't, you just really want to get away from those windows and as inside as you can. Put a mattress on top of your head, wear a helmet area, and we're going to have that heat continuing all throughout the weekend until Monday. We see some rain, and that's going to bring a bit of a relief from all this heat that we're seeing.
Other things you can be doing here in Tallahassee.
Well, if you are down here in Tallahassee, I definitely want to be out there enjoying this beautiful weather that we've been having here. If you look behind you, can see it go. There's some nice cloud coverage out there. Look at that, 88 degrees. That is really warm for my liking. So it's going to be a great time to get outside, but you're definitely going to want to remember to put on your sunscreen and to be drinking your water, because you do not want to be dehydrated. You want to make sure you're having fun out there in the sun with that beautiful, beautiful weather that we're seeing out there. And if we look at our temperatures across the board, it is just warm. That is really the story here. Earlier up in Valdosta, it was 91 degrees, already seeing those 90s. So it has cooled down ever so slightly, but not really. 89 is still really warm to be out there, and for it to be April. We're still in spring and it is this warm, and it's pretty much the same story everywhere that we look. So Tallahassee, 88. You're a little bit luckier if you're down near the coast. So Apalachicola, you're looking at 79. Still pretty warm, but you know, by the beach it's going to be a little bit cooler because of that water, and you're getting that sea breeze coming in, so hopefully that's helping you get a little bit of relief from this warm weather. On the radar, we can see there's not too much going on. We're getting into that time of year where you are going to start seeing those afternoon showers. So we can see that a bit to our north. So kind of right here along the Florida-Georgia border and more to our north, we're really seeing a few pop-up showers just here and there across. But right here in Tallahassee, it is clear and gorgeous, just a few clouds around the area, and that kind of continues from Tallahassee southward, not really looking at anything along the coast, just some beautiful weather to get out there and enjoy the beach if you're able to go do that. And we're seeing that same story continue for the most part, so just a little bit of cloud coverage. Last week we were seeing really no clouds. It was just blue skies all around. This week it's a little bit different, so we are seeing those clouds, especially now that it's warming up a little bit. That kind of helps to make those clouds as that air is rising. It's what happens when it gets warm, so we're seeing that more. And to our north, we saw it earlier, we're going to have a few storms and showers come through, but once again in Tallahassee, just looking cloudy, so it's really just a good time to get out there. Clouds help maybe a little bit with that warmth, but at night you're not getting too much help from that. It is not cooling down that much. Last week we were seeing that it was dropping a good bit, but after this weekend we really saw that those temperatures are staying pretty warm. So we're right around that 65 mark, like plus or minus depending on where you are, and cloudy throughout the entire region. And heading into tomorrow, you are just seeing that same story that we saw today. Look at all these 80s pretty much across the board. So you're just going to be really warm. Once again, like I was talking about earlier, a little bit cooler if you're near the coast. So Apalachicola only getting up to 77 tomorrow. But the rest of us more inland, we're not so lucky. It is just warm out there. There's really not much more to say than that. So 87 is our warm spot over here in Madison and Valdosta. But we're not getting too much cooler depending on where you are throughout. And for the week ahead, we're pretty much seeing that same story. It's just warm. It is getting warm. Summer is knocking on our door, and it's knocking hard. Look at this. 93. That is way too warm if you ask me for this time of year, but you might have to look out for a few showers and some clouds, but just lots of warmth to enjoy.